Welcome to Pure Hustle Podcast. I'm Mike.
And this is Orlando, and we're on episode 485, and this is another update episode.
Back-to-back update episodes. Can you believe it? So if you're new to the podcast or just not quite sure how we do our normal releases, we tend to switch off. One week we do an update episode, and those are the episodes where we get to talk about what's going on in our life, reselling-wise, what we've been up to, what's been selling, what's been not selling, any crazy reselling stories that we have. We get to go through normally our spicy bolos. This time we're going to be sticking with the hustles of the week, and then also what's going on in the reselling world. You know, what's the news? What's word on the street? We want to keep you informed as our listeners. And then the following week is the themed episode, so something a little bit more focused on maybe shipping or taxes or something a little bit more focused in. But we're doing back-to-back update episodes this time around. So, and honestly, almost everybody says the updates are their favorites. I think they're our favorites too. It just, also takes a little bit more for us to prepare them sometimes. So, but we're excited to talk about what's been going on. So, Orlando, how are you doing?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to keep it real. It was one of those things where I was like, hey, we could do a theme episode, but it's just kind of nice just to chat, right? Like we've had a couple episodes where we just talked about how things are going, not just our own life, but in the reselling space. And things are, they're going well. It's interesting. I noticed the shift. Like I had been talking big like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, like, yeah, I'm a list every day. I'm a ship out every day, right? I'm gonna keep building. But it was easy. It was easy when I didn't have to go in and work at the school because we were on Christmas break. And then Christmas break ended and the reality hit again, right? The reality.
And that's when the discipline has to take over, right? Because you have the motivation to list and to do, but that's when the discipline aspect comes in where you don't want to, you don't have necessarily the time to, and you have to make it priority.
I know. And I'm trying to figure it out. Like, we read Atomic Habits, how if you throw in a new thing in the middle of other habits and you just work it in, it becomes part of what you do, right? It's kind of like,
so like brush your teeth, and every time you brush your teeth, I don't know, you do body squats, like you squat. Then over time, like that just becomes like, hey, when I'm brushing my teeth, I'm getting a workout in, or reading a book or whatever. Like you add a habit to something, and so yeah, I mean that's a good point. Like especially when it comes to things like if you've got a 9 to 5, a normal 9 to 5, and a lot of our listeners do. Or you're even a full-time reseller, but you want to scale or something like that, is figure out what you're already doing. Maybe it's, hey, every night I watch, an episode of a TV show. Okay, well, maybe when you're watching the episode, that's when you list. Or maybe that's when you are, that kind of thing. You just add to something you're already doing.
And that's the hard thing. That's the thing right now that I'm trying to figure out when that time's going to be. Because my schedule is pretty tight. I hate saying this stuff but I do get up every morning for the gym and I get up super early, but that's like become part of my life.
Priorities.
Right. And I don't,
that's more important.
I know. But if I don't like, I hate when people are like, yeah, I get up at blah, 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 and I go hit the gym. Like I just, I've never been a fan of those kind of discussions, but it's just part of my life. Right. So I fit that in. So the question is like, where am I going to fit in the listing? Right. Maybe it's something I do in the morning.
Sets.
In between sets. Now I do send offers in between sets. That I do. So I don't know. I got to figure it out. But luckily sales is still coming through. It's just kind of nice to just have that side income. Like I tell people all the time, like don't give up on reselling. You may go part-time, but don't give it up. So that's been great. And then it took some discipline not to source. Today, I had some opportunity. I did source over the week. I sourced like some Thomas the Train stuff, just because we've talked about those. Like they're like if you can get them for a good deal, like you can sell some of those little trains like $20-$30 a piece, and if you pick up like 40 of them, like do the math, like that's good money, and you're usually able to get them for a decent price. But people have recognized, like I do see on Facebook Marketplace and OfferUp, like people charge a lot for them. But that's another reality that you have to bring people down from. I don't know. Did I talk about the guy that was asking me to sell some of his stereo equipment and like what happened when I showed him prices?
Yeah, I think so. I can't remember.
Just to reiterate. So I had a parent find our podcast. I shared this like last podcast, and he hit me up and he's like, "Hey man, can you help me move this stuff?" And I remember I agreed to it, and I told him I'm just gonna help him. I was gonna do consignment, and then he was like, I don't know, man, that's pretty steep. Because at first I'm like, I always do 50-50. He's like, what, 50-50, really? right? But I think it's when people don't understand like reselling, they don't understand that their items, they will never get the money they paid retail for. Like they'll never get it, right? And so I remember having a conversation with my good friend, and he wanted a certain dollar amount. And he's like, "Hey man, don't list it for any lower than this." And I'm like, "Hey, I'm being real with you. Like, it will never sell at that price." Like, he's like, "Oh man, like I spent so much money." And I'm like, and I know it's gonna hurt, but it's gonna hurt more if you keep asking to get like the money that you spent, because you're never gonna be able to sell this stuff,
Yeah,
right?
only a
And
handful of things are like investments, right? Like a lot of people think because
yeah,
you hear the stories of like, hey, I bought these Pokemon cards, now they're worth 10 times what I bought them for. But most things are going to depreciate in value.
no,
And
no,
and
yeah.
people, if they have that mindset of, hey, this is already depreciated in value, but if I can recoup some costs, I'm not going to be able to get the retail value for it unless it's a very rare, very sought after thing. Maybe it's actually gone up. But most things, especially if people are wanting to do that kind of consignment, it's gone down.
Yeah, so I've begun to, I remember in the early days of a podcast, like if people had like eBay prices or eBay, people would say, I'm gonna sell on eBay. We would usually just walk away and not engage in conversation. I've changed my strategy. If people are asking for top dollar, I'm willing to go on solds on eBay and just share it with them, right? I do it at garage all the time when people are like, oh, these things are selling for this much on eBay. I'm like, oh, yeah, you know what? Let me check. And I take a look, and, they may be wrong, or they may be right. And then I tell them, okay, hey, listen, if they're going for this on eBay, maybe this is something you should just sell on eBay. Like you shouldn't sell it at a garage sale. But let me tell you why I can't pay more than this amount, right? And I always tell people like I won't pay more than 25% of what you're looking to get for it, right? So if
You know
it's
what? I got an idea here. I
yeah,
think we should add something to this technique because I've done the same thing where you've like explained the process of reselling, but that takes time. Um,
yeah,
we should have on our business cards that we hand out like an extra QR code on the side that's like how to resell on eBay. And that QR code could take them to like a 2-hour video. We'll make a 2-hour video and we could say like, hey, I, actually, I would love to talk to you about how to resell on eBay, but it's a pretty complicated, long process. But I actually teach people how to do that. There's a 2-hour video here that kind of walks you through shipping and just start naming all the process just quickly, and then let them think like, wait a minute, it's going to take me 2 hours to learn how to do this. And so if they really do want to learn, you've got a resource for them. But for the most part, people are going to go, you know what? Maybe I am willing to let this go because that sounds like a lot of work.
well, like I think about like these speakers, right? Like let's say I sell like it's $500, right? And then you take the eBay fees, right? So you're gonna take out let's say 20%, right? Because I'm doing promoted listings. The eBay gets to 10%, so 20% of 500. We're already talking about what, $200, right? No, we're talking no 20%. We're talking about $100, $100, right? You take $100, so now we're down to 400, right? And if I charge shipping, okay, then I'm okay. So if I charge shipping, that's fine. But if they're quality speakers and you got to pack them right, that's going to take you like 30 minutes to an hour just to do that, right? Let alone the listing, right? And then there's a whole process, right? And so I walked people through that process, but it's hard. Like, if you're not a reseller, you don't get it. Like, you think it's just like, oh, it's sold, and they just ship it out, right? No, but there's a whole process involved, and so it was just tough. It was tough because I think his stuff was selling for 50% of what he paid for retail, and it was just a hard reality, right? And I told him like, hey man, I'm just trying to help you out, but this is where we're at, right? And I've done consignment before for people where people are like, I can't get less than that, and I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, well, we can't do business because
No.
there's just no way. Like, why am I going to spend all that time just for it to sit in my garage and just for us to just have wasted like real estate space in my eBay store, So anyways, there you have it. Man, there's some interesting things you have in here. Okay, I wanted to talk about you to put that Goodwill is a waste of time. So I'm gonna I'm gonna take your thunder a little bit. I gotta tell you, Goodwill, like I have not been to Goodwill in a long time, and I went the other day sourcing, and it is brutal. Like I don't know if that's across the country, but it's not like you can't even find like I'd rather find good items at high prices than find trash items at high prices, because that's what I'm finding now.
Yeah.
Like you can't even find like name brand. Like, well, you want to find a Pendleton, you want to find a Carhartt, you want to find a Rain Spooner, and then that's just clothing. You want to find a decent pair of Alden shoes. You want to find some video game. You want to find whatever. Like forget about it, man. Like, it's impossible. It really is impossible at Goodwill, and it's because they have Shop Goodwill and they have AI and they have their bolo list, like they know. So
Yep.
I did go, and I almost, and it's funny, I almost picked up something. I picked up a Hawaiian shirt, and I had to be careful, like, because Hawaiian. Remember those Hawaiian like Christmas shirts? Like, it didn't matter what brand it was. There was a time like you could sell them for like 40, $50, and it was an RJC shirt, and I picked it up, and it was like people are selling it for like $10. I'm like, okay, like this is, man. Make sure you still do your research. Like, you can't count on what you used to know.
Yeah.
So
What you used to know from a few years ago is outdated for sure.
yeah, no, for sure. And then the other thing I did is, I don't know if you know, like Poshmark now offers, they'll give you free Ground Advantage shipping supplies, like USPS Ground Advantage shipping supplies. And I haven't taken the time to go out there and ask and do you have to like call a number or something. Like, I wish they just had an electronic form. Maybe they do now, but there's a number on their site you have to call and you have to put in your order and all that. But I haven't taken the time. But I was at the post office and somebody left, I don't know, like 50 Ground Advantage boxes, like 50 of their like poly mailers and all this stuff. And I just took it. And I remember people were like, oh, you can't ship it if it's not Poshmark. It's like, no, like the thing just says it's for the USPS mail. It doesn't mention for a company, but it saves you money. Like, if you wanted to, outside of tape, right, you could get free shipping supplies and never pay for a single box, never pay for a single poly mailer. Like, you can get all your priority stuff from USPS. You can get all your 2-day stuff from FedEx or whatever stuff. You get all your stuff from Poshmark.
It's expensive way to do it though. It's
What
like
do you mean?
you're saving on the supplies, but the actual shipping itself is more expensive.
Yeah, Ground Advantage isn't crazy. It's not bad. What options you have? Ground Advantage.
Yeah, Ground Advantage is fine.
Yeah.
So you're saying they have Ground Advantage boxes?
Yeah. Poshmark does. So Poshmark,
Okay.
they made some deal with the post office. I'm sure you can find a YouTube video. I think Shed Flips had a video on it on how you get it. And there's some other. I'm sure plenty of people have talked about it. And so yeah, you can pick up, like, they have these like these bubble mailers, Ground Advantage. They're not bubble mailers. There's like, I don't know what they put, like shredded paper in it as like the padding. You can get those, and they're big envelopes. We're talking about, like, I don't know, I think they're like 16 by 14 by whatever. You can get boxes. If I had time, I'd get up and I'd pick it up, but you guys can look this up on the internet. It's not too hard. And yeah, you could get USPS Ground Advantage like free supplies if you want. It's pretty easy. And then you can get all the priority stuff you want, but even FedEx, you can get stuff for free too. So UPS, like we've talked about how you can get thermal labels from UPS for free. I picked up, I think like more than that. I picked up like 5,000 thermal labels from USPS, not USPS, from UPS a few years ago, and I'm still using them. Right, because I do ship stuff UPS, but not everything is UPS, right? So they're still out there. So there's plenty out there that you can pick up, and so just be aware that, like, there's always ways. And we've talked about how you can pick up boxes from U-Haul if there's a U-Haul nearby and they have like the recycling thing. There's always U-Haul boxes that you can pick up. There's bubble wrap that you can pick up. But you guys get bubble wrap for cheap from one of our friends, American Bubble Boy. So check out American Bubble Boy. Go to link below and pick up American Bubble Boy. So did you look up what I was talking about?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm sitting next to my my hot water heater, and it made some crazy rattling noises, probably picked up on the podcast. So I quickly looked up, like, why is my hot water heater rattling? I just want to make sure it doesn't bust on me while we're having the podcast.
Oh, that would be bad. Okay,
so.
that would go viral for all the wrong reasons.
All the wrong reasons. Yeah.
Okay, here, let me read what Poshmark says. All orders on Poshmark are shipped with USPS Ground Advantage. USPS offers free Ground Advantage boxes exclusively for Poshmark sellers. If you need packaging, please call, and they have a number there. And then press 1 to order supplies.
Now let me say, like, if I was a lawyer, it says exclusively for Poshmark sellers. It doesn't say from Poshmark items. So technically, as long as you sell stuff on Poshmark, you're a Poshmark seller, right? I don't know. Is that because?
Well, but that's what I'm saying.
It does kind of seem like it is written for Poshmark, not for eBay.
Yeah, well, I used it for eBay because the boxes don't say any. This was just somebody left it behind in the post office. Right? So I just picked these up. I didn't even know they were for Poshmark. I'm like, cool. Like, where do these come from? And it doesn't say on the box. All it says is here, you know what?
Here's all I can imagine.
Keep chatting while I grab a box. I'll grab a box.
Somebody went out to their car. This is all I can imagine. Orlando's walking away, so he's gonna miss the punchline of this joke. But somebody's walking out to their car to like unload stuff, and they were going back in to grab their boxes from Poshmark that they just had shipped in. And then they get there and they're like, "Where are my boxes?" And like you see the cutscene, and Orlando's putting the boxes into his car and driving away like someone left these here. So hopefully that wasn't the case. But yeah, Orlando's bringing the boxes here right now. Let us know in the comments below. Have you done this before with the Poshmark Ground Advantage boxes? All right, what do we got here, Orlando?
All right, it says this packaging is property of the U.S. Post Office. It's provided solely for use in sending fully paid USPS Ground Advantage shipments. That's it.
Hey,
doesn't say Poshmark anywhere. Does not say like, hey, could only be used by Poshmark sellers. I mean, look at it. Well, you can't really see it because
you can't see. You got your greens. Yeah, your background removal.
Well, yeah, no, it's just a shipping box. All right, this shipping box, it's actually pretty good. It's a 12 by 25 by 12 by 8.5. So I don't know. Let us know in the chat. Have you been using these? Has been worth it to you? But again, it's another way, to save money. And by the way, I do ship. I do sell stuff on Poshmark, so I am a Poshmark seller. So
that's right. That's right.
Anyways, all right. So yeah, that's kind of my update. That's kind of sales keep moving. I'm choosing. I am gonna go to garage sales next Saturday. I just thought it was. I picked up all that Thomas stuff. I still had the stuff from that Raider haul that I had. That I haven't done anything with. So I don't want to have major death piles developing. So that's where I'm at. How about you, Mike? How's it going?
Pretty good. The storm is over. It was pretty crazy. So I've never had a snow day in all of my years of teaching because I was in California and we just didn't really have snow days. Occasionally like fire days where they would close down schools because the air quality was bad, but never like an actual snow day. And so this last storm, like I was anticipating either a late start for school or a snow day on Monday. And it turned out it was Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday my school was shut down. And it was because the roads were just pretty icy. And honestly, I would say by like Tuesday afternoon, the roads were drivable. You could drive around town, but like it was going to refreeze overnight. And then once again, Wednesday morning, the roads were pretty bad shape. But by like noon or 11, the roads were fine. But here's what really was frustrating. What's the USPS motto? Remember, like it was always like in rain and snow and like no matter what the situation was, it could be zombie apocalypse, the USPS was going to run. And I totally do not blame them at all. Like the first couple of days of the storm, those roads were nasty. Like I would not want anybody driving out there for any reason unless they're emergency vehicles. Like that was, I have no problem them not driving that Saturday, that Monday. But like Tuesday afternoon, when people are driving, when Uber Eats is driving around, everyone's driving around and nobody's coming to pick up the packages that I have sitting. And then Wednesday, same thing. Like I'm waiting. I'm like, okay, pretty much this whole county is reopened back up. Like so a bunch of schools are shut down, but the postman is gonna come by, and no postman comes by, and I'm stuck getting my packages, putting them in the car, driving to the post office to drop them off, and messaging all my buyers like, hey, I'm so sorry. I know this is like a day or two late, but like I could not leave my house, and the post office, the USPS truck did not come by. There's like nothing I can do. And so that's kind of where I was at with that. And it was, looks like I lost you there, Orlando. Maybe you jumped off. It was just kind of frustrating, but luckily, a couple buyers were like, hey, no problem at all. A couple buyers didn't say anything. They didn't respond to my messages. And the bottom line was, I think I'm going to be fine. I think in a situation like that, because it wasn't just Central Texas that was hit. We sold stuff that was going up to New York, and New York was dealing with it too. And so my customers, even if it was shipped on time, there's going to be delays. And I think people are understanding of that. And worst case scenario, if you do end up with a negative, I feel like the easiest feedback to get, negative feedback to get removed is a shipping issue feedback, especially if you've got all of your ducks in a row. You've got when things were shipped out, when label or the shipping labels were created, you're probably going to be in pretty good shape. Those are the experiences I've had with eBay customer service. Is if it's a shipping issue, usually negative feedback can get removed, no problem. So I'm not too worried about that. But again, it's still a little frustrating when, there was probably at least 1, maybe 2 days where the postman could have come by and just didn't. And so I don't know if that was just that route or if that was just across the whole area. But again, if you're in a situation like that, and like I said, this is like my first time experience a snowstorm, ice storm like this. So who knows, maybe this is such a common thing for a lot of people that they're like, yeah, when there's major storms, shipping delays is not an issue. eBay doesn't ever hold that against you. I've just never had to personally experience it. So I'd like to know in the comments below. Let us know, what has your experience been when there have been natural disasters of various kinds, whether it's flooding or other storms. Does eBay cover you on that? And then the other thing is, because I wasn't able to really get out of the house until like Thursday was the first like full day of like, hey, like the town is reopened back up completely. It just didn't get to do a lot of sourcing this week. And I was planning on maybe trying some garage sales this morning. It's cold out here, but it's not storming anymore. And I think there was some estate sales. But we're also trying to sell our house, and we had a couple showings this morning. So I wasn't able to go sourcing like that to go to estate sales and garage sales, but I did go to the Goodwill, which is like what Orlando mentioned. I put in my notes.
So bad.
Goodwill is a waste of time. I really don't mind going to the bins. It's hit or miss, but things are just so cheap there, and I feel like they throw a lot of like excess inventory they didn't have time to process. Because I used to think the bins was just stuff that has just sat in the Goodwill stores forever, and then they finally make it to the bin. So as you're basically getting the trash of the trash. And I don't think that's the case always. I think sometimes they just get so much stuff that like, send this to the bins and then we'll send this stuff to the stores. So I do okay at the bins from time to time. But man, my wife and I both went into this Goodwill, and we just looked at each other and just said, this is terrible. This is awful. It was packed. I mean, this was a pretty good sized Goodwill, but you would think it was like Christmas, like the couple days before Christmas at the mall. Like every single aisle was just full of people. And I don't think they're resellers because, like I said, there just wasn't good inventory there. So I just think it may be a sign of like, people are hurting. The economy is tough. People are trying to save some money. They're trying to pinch pennies, and they're sourcing it at the thrift store. But there just wasn't a lot there. We spent a little bit of time looking around, and let me tell you, like, this is how bad it was. I mean, you know how the toy section at some thrift stores can be, like, a lot of times it's just junk toys and whatnot. This was this bad though. So do you ever take, oh, hold on one second.
All right. So this kind of ties into, we have this reseller topic that we're going to talk about later on. So I'm just going to throw it in here. I think Mike is dealing with some situations out there. So let me read this news story. We're going to be unorthodox. Actually, you know what? Let me read it right now. So Mike was talking about Goodwill and like who goes to Goodwill. Well, actually, Goodwill is actually doing pretty well, right? And you know, it's because of the economy. And again, I don't know where the economy is at. I don't know what's happening. We've been talking about this for years. Mike and I, we've been talking about that we've been in a recession for such a long time, but don't know. But this is what the story says. So from the New York Times, it says that Goodwill stores are thriving as wary shoppers are in an uncertain economy. And it says, Goodwill stores are thriving. That is good news for the nonprofit organization that oversees Goodwill, the world's largest thrift store chain. But it also signals that Americans in an uncertain economy are trying to stretch their dollars as far as possible. The organization Goodwill Industries said it surpassed $7 billion in revenue, a record from its 3,400 stores in 2025, up roughly 7% from the previous year. $7 billion, by the way, $7 billion. Okay. Now, obviously, Goodwill does a lot of good, right? The president, the CEO said, we're pretty steady in almost any economic situation, but when things are tight, we're probably more likely to get that foot traffic. And later on, it reads, across the consumer economy, holiday spending remained strong last year, and consumers are still spending on discretionary goods, even if they defer the cost through buy now, pay later. But it continues that Goodwill shops presents a sensory overload of inventory. Shoppers are able to get whatever they want, and basically that Goodwill is thriving. And then this later part, so Mike, I decided to throw in one of our reseller topics just because we were just talking about this now. I know it's another orthodox for us, but then, you know, Value Village Savers said that they're actually doing pretty well. They said that their net sales growth grew 16% in the most recent quarter, right? ThreadUp said its revenue rose 34% last quarter, right? So obviously things are going pretty well. Now, my spin on this story, right, is the fact that, hey, if these thrift stores are going well, that means us as resellers have an opportunity to thrive, right? Because if people are going to thrift stores, hey, then people will be coming to eBay. And you might be saying, oh, well, people aren't going to be wanting to pay top dollar. That's fine. That's fine. Let the market decide, right? Let the market decide. But that means clothing is not dead. That means vintage toys are not dead. I mean, right now the card market's even really hot from what
You
I've
might have to
seen.
change your model, right? Like that's a big thing is you got to realize when there's a lot of discretionary income just out in the void or people have people are willing to spend more money on flashy, right? They want the things that have the names on it and they want the things that are rare and unique. And when times are tough and people are experiencing hardships, they want necessities and they want cheap. And so you can still be profitable and helpful for people by providing those items. You're probably not going to be able to sell a shirt that you picked up for $2 for $100. You're probably going to be selling a lot more shirts that you picked up for $1 or $2 for $10, right? And that might just need to be the model. But if you can move volume that way, you're going to be in a good spot.
No, agreed. All right, hey, so we're gonna get into our random stories, but before we do that, I just want to talk to you guys about my reseller Genie. Tax time is around the corner. It's gonna be February, or it is February by the time we drop this podcast. That means you have about a little over 2 months to get everything sorted out. And guess what? My reseller Genie will help you do that. But here's the thing: they have a course that can allow you to start your month, your year strong, right? That's one of the big things that people stress about is like, hey, I started making more money on eBay. I'm kind of worried. Like, am I going to owe money? Like, how do I make sure that I keep tabs on how much I'm making? Use our code Pure Hustle and you will get 15% off the course. Okay. You'll get 15% off the course. The course is like, I think it's like $147 or 160. I can't remember, but listen, you will make that money back by good bookkeeping. So use our code Pure Hustle. Then you could also get my reseller bookkeeping, right? My reseller Genie bookkeeping for 15% off the first month or 15% off a yearly subscription. And if you do the yearly subscription, you get 2 free months. So what does that mean? If you use our code, you could get 3.5 months. I think it's 3.5 months, I believe, for free by using our code Pure Hustle. Then you could save money by getting the course by using our code Pure Hustle. So you can stack those discounts, and in the end, they're gonna help you out. And so make sure to check it out. Again, my reseller Genie. Go to the link below, or you can just look it up. Go to my reseller Genie course, and you'll be able to find out. Use our code Pure Hustle, and you'll be able to pick up a lot of things. And it's just gonna help your business. Again,
and one of the things that I would say on this is, we have a lot of people who are in our Discord and have joined our Patreon to help support us. And that's great. Like, we really appreciate everybody who does that. But if all of our listeners who are already going to be paying money in order to have some bookkeeping done, right? They're using software of some kind and they already are maybe looking to take a class or learn something. If our listeners who are going to spend that money anyways are just willing to say, hey, I'm going to spend that money on a company that is also supporting Pure Hustle Podcast, I'm going to use their code. We get a small kickback from that. So even if you're like, hey, I don't have the money to support Pure Hustle Podcast, but I am going to be paying money to do some of my bookkeeping this year, if you're willing to use my reseller Genie, use our promo code, that is a way of supporting us. And so that's a way of supporting us without having to spend any extra money of your own, if that was money you were going to spend anyway. So we really appreciate those of you who take the time and consideration to do that. It's a way of supporting us and help yourself.
Yeah, and I have no problem. Like, let us know in the chat if you bought the course and you think it was valuable. Let other people know. Like, I fully support what Paul and Faith do. My reseller Genie, we've been with them from the beginning, just like American Bubble Boy. Like, American Bubble Boy started off right from the beginning, and it's been great. Like, we believe in their products. We believe in my reseller Genie. Mike and I have been very careful that we will never talk about something that we ourselves have not used. We ourselves do not support. Because it's, we very much value that people trust what we do, and we're also educators, right? So in the end, if we're looking at a course, we're like, hey, this is going to help you out. We truly believe that's the case. So use our code Pure Hustle, get 15% off everything. So check it out. All right, you got any random stories?
Yeah, I'm gonna drop you off real quick and add you back in to put us on the right side here. It just, you know what I mean? It just feels weird when we're on the wrong side of the screen.
And if you're listening, you're talking about the YouTubes.
Yeah, so if you're not watching, come on over, hit like and subscribe. We're getting close to 10,000. You might be that lucky 10,000, or even better, you might be one of the few that get in before 10,000, because before long, we're going to be so far above 10,000. You'll be like, I wish I was in that first 10,000. So come on over.
We've been at this for 8 years, but yes, that's the...
We're going to get there, man. We're going to get there. So yeah, I've got a couple things. One, I did my taxes. I haven't filed because I owe this year, and there's quite a few years where I owe a little bit here and there. This year was brutal though, and it kind of stinks because technically the child tax credit went up, and so I was kind of anticipating getting more, but also I did so much better this year on eBay. I did so much better with some other things. I got some other money coming in, and so it just bumped me up into a tax bracket where it was not great. So I owe, and it's more than I've owed in a long time, and it kind of got me thinking, like, I wish we could find a way to make, I don't know, maybe even the people who support us, like on Patreon, I mean, that's such a small bit, but like find a way to, like, if the money we get on eBay, like, this is a tip, since now there's like the no tax on tips, but man, it's just, but at the same time, because my wife and I were doing that, we're like a little discouraged, but then just a reminder of, okay, we have to owe. Maybe we didn't get $200 or $300 or $400 back. Like, I know some people get a lot of money back. A lot of normal W-4 type employees or W-2 employees, they're used to kind of getting a lot back if they've got kids and they're not super high income. But just that paradigm shift of, but we can't be upset about this, because that means we had such a financially successful year that what is a couple bucks? You know what I mean? Like, what's a few $100 or $1,000 or more that you owe when you made 10, 20, 30 times that extra this year? And so having that mindset, and a lot of people do get in that, well, I don't want to make more because then I don't want to have to pay more taxes. It's like, well, would you rather owe $1,000 but you made an extra 20 or 30, or would you rather get $1,000 back but throughout the year you made 20 or 30 less? Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, it's totally worth paying extra taxes if you are going to be able to make more. Now, I do understand there's the difference when people are on a threshold of, like, maybe getting some kind of aid, some kind of assistance, that can be, you got to go well above that threshold before it starts to make financial sense. But for most people, don't be afraid of paying taxes. Like, it stinks, but it's part of life. We're not going to be able to get around it. So that was just one of the things that I was kind of thinking about as a random story, since got that done today. And then the other thing is, did you follow the Nike Costco crossover shoes?
Well, that was part of my. See, we're throwing the reseller topics in everything here.
I didn't, but it wasn't on there.
No, it's on there. I put it on the notes, but it's okay.
No, it's not on the notes. Trending items?
Yeah, trending items versus garage sale. So let's just have the conversation now. So
okay,
I am bummed because my city was one of the places that. So let me explain what's going on. So Costco sells Nike SB Low Dunks, and they, it's like a surprise drop, right? Who knew Costco, right? Now, by the way, Costco sweats are like the best sweats I've ever owned in my entire life.
That just means you're finally a mature adult when you're willing to. 90% of my closet comes from Costco, so there's no judgment there. But you know what I mean? You're really a real adult. You're really adulting when your Costco wardrobe is on point.
Listen, there are these sweats, and they say Costco wholesale, right? It's like they were. I put them on, and I'm like, these are amazing. Like, this is so good. Now, maybe I am getting older. I don't know what it is, but
Costco sweats, not a sponsor.
Yeah, I know, but they're so good, so good. And no, and seriously, like, I've bought some quarter zips from Costco. I've bought all my Levi's jeans. Like, you get Levi's jeans at Costco for like $30, or you can pay retail like $80 to $100, and they're the same quality. Like, it's great. So Costco did a shoe drop, and they did it in one of the places was San Francisco. So there's only like 6 places that they dropped. Like, one was in Brooklyn, was in Kirkland, Washington, one was so and so, and they dropped here in San Francisco in the 10th Avenue Costco. I had no idea. Like, I've always heard about them. Had I known, I probably would have showed up. Now they had a price tag of $135, but I just checked the eBay comps, and $450, $500 here, $600 here. Like, they're a hot item because I believe they are moving, and I believe every store only dropped 512 in every store. Now, is it possible that these cook groups somehow got insider info, and that's how people knew to line up? Probably.
I mean, I
right?
saw it pretty early on social media before most Costco's were open. So I mean, it was coming out, like people were finding out about it, and then also even just thinking, whether or not it's cook groups, you got time zones, right? Like, so you got West Coast versus East Coast, and once it starts happening in the West Coast, it's not going to be long before people are realizing what's going on, and then
You mean
the
East
lines
Coast
were
and then
crazy.
West Coast?
Yeah. I had that backwards. So the thing though is they're gonna have restrictions on how many people can buy, but usually
No,
Costco puts
one
that
one
up
per
for like,
person.
oh, there's only one per person.
Mm-hmm,
But even
mm-hmm.
still, like the lines were out of
I think
control.
one per membership.
Ooh, one per, yeah, which makes sense, one per membership. So yeah, because I was in a position where I'd have to drive to get one. I only have a Sam's Club near me.
Mm.
And so I wasn't going to drive and try and get in line thinking I was going to get one. Because at that point, it was going to be too late. But then it got me thinking, like, man, I really wish we had a Costco. My area might be getting one, in the next few years. But Sam's Club is just not the same. Have you ever been to a Sam's Club, Orlando?
Yeah, no, it's not
It's
the
the
same.
Walmart Costco. It's the Walmart
Yeah,
Costco.
you still
It's
feel like
very
you're at
similar, but
Walmart.
it's
Like you
Walmart.
don't feel like you're at like
No, yeah, it's the
Costco
Walmart.
is something I could go every day. Like
Yeah,
I love
Costco's
Costco,
great.
bro. Like
But it made me think, like, what would the Nike Sam's Club drop be like? Like, what would I mean, it just was kind of like I don't know. We should draw that up. Somebody who's good with memes and stuff should come up with what's the Sam's Club Nike drop compared to the Costco Nike drop.
I don't know, bro. I just the thing is with Costco, what I love about Costco is like if I buy something at Costco and it's like a Costco private label, Kirkland brand, like I know I'm getting something quality, right? And the beauty about Costco is like if I don't like it, I can return it, right?
And I've
I
done
can
quite a bit of sourcing there. I've done quite a bit of sourcing, and not like a ridiculous
Oh
amount.
yeah.
Like I've never made Costco like I'm it's my daily. I'm going and I'm basically scalping items because I know people get upset with that, especially when there's limited items on things. And I
Yeah.
know, we're not against resellers buying items and selling them. Of course, we do that. But I do understand like the frustration of like if it's just resellers coming in buying all the stuff, and you're like, hey, I have a Costco membership and I can't even get this thing. But if I'm already at Costco, and it's pretty, good sign to check things out when you see a limit of 2 per customer and you see half the customers in Costco have it in their cart, you're like, I'm going to check this on eBay. And a
Yeah.
lot of times it's like, hey, I could double my money on these. So I'm going to buy 2 and I'm going to end up making $80 or $100 or something off of this Costco trip that I was already here. So that means some of my groceries are free.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Listen, and there's stuff sometimes like if it has the 9.7, like if it has a 7 at the end, that means that is the lowest price and it'll never come back.
Yeah. The
Right.
Death
So
Star got the little star on it.
yeah. I mean, that's what like the sweats, like the Costco sweats, like those things sold out in a day. I had no idea that they were hot until I went home. I'm like, man, I need to go back and buy like all the colors. And then I went back and it was all gone. So yeah, you just got to be careful. But yeah, I'm kind of sad. But the reason I wanted to bring this up is because I also saw another ad like KFC. I guess we're on reseller topics. I don't know if we'll hit the music today, but they sold bolos. Not to be on the lookout, but like the Thai bolos, stuff they were in Texas kind of deal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Bolo
so they
ties.
sold out of those. They sold out of those, and they're like 11. It's like a whole like you can buy like running shorts, like you can buy like
All the restaurants too. So you're saying KFC had these? Yeah, because I mean,
yeah.
I'm in Texas now, so Whataburger is the thing, and I've got a coworker who's like Whataburger obsessed. He collects all the water. His whole classroom is Whataburger stuff, and same thing with In-N-Out. In-N-Out releases shirts. I mean, I'm wearing a Del Taco shirt right now, right this moment, right? So like a lot of these restaurants do have things like socks and backpacks and things you can buy. But yeah, I could see why like a bolo tie from KFC, because that doesn't on the logo, isn't that what Colonel Sanders is wearing, is like a bolo tie?
Yeah.
I think.
So okay, but hey, listen. Once we get to 10,000 subscribers, we're gonna be dropping some kind of merch.
Yeah.
I mean, no, I was thinking like, should we sell chocolate like Mr. Beast, or like we gotta sell
Come on, man.
or Pure Hustle Prime drink, or like
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Be
We
on
just
the
got to get
lookout.
into coffee like everybody else.
No, that's the thing. Like the
Maybe
thing
we'll
is,
make a protein bar. Maybe we'll
Pure Hustle protein. Listen. I think people would buy. Let us know.
That's
Would
right.
you
Like,
buy
look,
Pure Hustle protein bar?
look at how much weight Orlando has lost. Look at how fit we are both getting. It's Pure Hustle protein. That's how we're doing it. We haven't invented it yet, but that is the key to our success. And if you want to get on the ground floor in this and maybe sponsor us, hit us up. We can maybe make this Pure Hustle protein a thing.
Hey, I'm not kidding. Like I'm being serious. Like Pure Hustle protein. I don't know. So, anyways, all right. Hey, so the funny thing with this bolo tie, like they're sold out, and I went on the website, they're sold out. But then I go online and they're selling for like $250, but not one has sold. Not one. Now, I do think, do these companies purposely like list their own? I like they get like an underling to kind of list it for high price to kind of create the hype, right? So I end up on the news and people are like, "Oh, these bolos
I
are
need to go
selling for
get them.
250." You know what I'm
It makes
saying?
sense.
So
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense that companies would do that. I mean, Chick-fil-A just recently did something like that with their cups, like their collector classic cups, and like
okay.
those were almost like booster packs. So you didn't know which one you were getting. You'd open it
Yeah,
up, and if you got a gold cup, you got like Chick-fil-A for a year. So they do want to do things to get that hype, and yeah, it makes sense if for a company to say like, hey, we want a lot of hype around this, and so as soon as we start selling them, let's list a bunch of them and put them up high. I mean, we even talked about doing that jokingly with whatever it is, like a post-it note or something. It's got to be something. One person in the comments actually had a good idea, but it's got to be something all of our listeners could easily get and sell. But like for us to make a fake hype up something to sell for a lot of money. And one of our listeners said, pennies, the machines that you go to, like you're at the zoo or something, you put a penny in,
yeah.
$1, and you crush it. And since they're not making pennies anymore, you could probably like list those for like $500, like a San Diego Zoo, whatever penny. And if we can get enough of our listeners to like have those little flat penny things, you could create fake hype. They're like, these are worth a ton of money. And then that hits the news. Like everybody's like, can you believe it? If you've got these pennies, they might be worth a bunch of money. And everybody will think, man, I got rid of those. But really none of them are selling. And that's the problem, is unless you're looking at the comps, it doesn't matter.
That's true. That's true.
But it's good marketing. It's good marketing.
Yeah, there you go. And that's pretty much our reseller talk. I wanted to talk about the whole promoted listings gate, but people already know. Basically, we're all paying a lot more money to sell on eBay. That's just basically it. If you do promoted listings. So what they did, I'll just share the story. This is from Value Added Resource. They basically said 2 weeks into the major shift in eBay promoted listings general attribution policies, some unaware sellers are shocked at sudden rise in ad fees, and customer support appears clueless about how new policies actually will go. Customer support clueless. What a shock. And what's happening is like people are saying, oh man, it started off with like 60% of my items were promoted, and now 100% of my store is getting charged promoted listing ad fees. This is no surprise to me. eBay, in the most shadiest way, basically just raised their fees across the board with this. That's all they did, right? They found a loophole to trick everybody, and this is what they did, right? But this is the reality of it. I mean, you just gotta live with it. And could we do a mass boycott? Sure, we could. Would it happen? I think it could happen if like everybody got united, right? If Rally Roots got on board, Reezy got on board, right? Reezy with his 500,000 subscribers, Craigslist Hunter got on board. We got on board because we have the largest podcast. Trash to Cash got on board. Kevin, Commonwealth Pilker. Like if we were able to do like this whole like reselling influencer boycott, maybe. But even still, remember the used market is only about 20% of eBay. So would it even make a dent? Like, I don't know. But I think that's the only way we could get eBay to turn things around, because this is shady. It really is. I would have been more willing to accept eBay saying, hey, we're going to raise our fees by 5%. I could cry about it. I could yell about it, but it is. But this is like, I feel this is very underhanded. So eBay, I really believe this is a shame that you did this. Like you could have been better about this. You could have done some kind of like, I don't know, discussion maybe at eBay Open or something. But again, it is what it is. Like the reason you're not going to change eBay is because I'll keep selling on eBay. Like that's the reality, right? But anyways,
Just like in the same way, and it stinks that we've got to come to this realization, because I mean, you're right. Like there is potentially things people could do to make a difference. I mean, there's examples of that through history of, people unionizing or getting together and finding ways to like stand up against something. So there is potential for that. But the reality is, and you say it every few weeks, you got to let the market decide. And that's kind of what eBay is able to do, is they're saying, well, we're going to let our market, and their market is us. Like we are kind of the customer. And so it's like, well, how much will they take? In the same way, like we can raise prices and see like, well, eventually customers will stop buying. And I know I've raised my prices too high and I got to lower my prices. eBay's kind of able to do the same thing, is they can kind of just keep squeezing and squeezing until they say like, how far can we squeeze? And yeah, I would prefer they didn't need to do that. I would prefer that the gross merchandise value would go up so much that that's how they're making all their money, and they could actually lower fees and say like, we keep being more and more profitable quarter after quarter, even after lowering fees, because so many more people are buying on eBay than ever before, as opposed to, hey, we've actually sold the same amount or less than in previous, quarters, but we made more because we squeezed our sellers that much more. But they're going to find the limit. Eventually it'll happen. But unless you're right, like unless people organize, which here's the thing, like you might get even if you got half the people to organize, the other half is going to go unfair advantage. Sweet. All these people are going to stop using promoted listings, and all these people are going to take their items off eBay for the next week to like stick it to eBay. Sweet. Double sales for me. I'll promote. Also, you know what I mean? That's what some people are going to do. And so then it ends up being a wash for eBay. And so unless you got 100% or close enough to it, it's just going to have to be the point where enough people are hurting that they're not successful with squeezing any more out of us.
Yeah. So that's our reseller topics. All right. Hey, we do a little different because we're doing an update episode, but this time we are going to talk about hustles of the week. So we should cue that music, huh?
Yeah, I've got that music coming right now.
Come on, hustlers. It's the freaking hustle of the week.
Let me pull this up. I got to make my text a little bigger here. All right. Our first hustle of the week comes from the Butterfinger Bandit from the Discord. Says, gotta talk about my flip this week. Pick this up at a used bookstore, trying to turn some of my bin finds into store credit so I can buy something and moves a little faster. So I paid $20 for this D&D 3rd edition player's handbook. They obviously hadn't looked inside of it to see it was signed by 2 of the game's designers. Sold it the next day for $80. Man, that's really awesome, but it's crazy to me. I mean, that's still a good sale, right? To go from 20 to 80. That's a great hustle. But man, I would just imagine like a 3rd edition. Maybe it's just a 3rd edition isn't a popular edition, or as popular, but it's signed by some of the game designers, especially with the popularity of Dungeons and Dragons. It's just such a cool find. I'd have a hard time letting that go. I mean, I'm not even a hardcore Dungeons and Dragons player. I've played a handful of times, but what a cool find. And that just goes to show too, you gotta look inside your books to see what you have.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, a lot of you are wondering, like, hey, Discord, what are you talking about? So the reason we've been able to pump out 485 free episodes along with a bunch of other YouTube, and we're on social media, is because of our Patreon supporters. And so if you want to join our Discord, all you have to do is go to patreon.com, go below, patreon.com/PureHustlePodcast. And for $7 a month, which you will make that money really quick, whether it be a shipping tip, whether it be a bolo on the Discord, whether it be, just learning from other sellers. We have all kinds of sellers there, from vintage to antique to Amazon to eBay, Poshmark, Depop, like you name it, all in there. Tim the Slim is there. Just thought I'd throw his name out there so we can continue our tradition of mentioning him. But we have all kinds of resellers in our Discord. So, hey, come support us on Patreon for just $7 a month, and it's going to really help you out. Also, you can find us on all social media. We are Pure Hustle Podcast. And then we are Pure Hustle Cast on X. You can always shoot us an email at purehustlepodcast@gmail.com. And as always, grateful for all of you that leave us iTunes reviews. We are the #1 reselling podcast out there. We have the largest audience, and we also have the largest amount of reviews. But leave us a review. Get us to that place where we have over 1,000 reviews. It would really help us. And if you're listening, jump on over to the YouTube, hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, and click that bell notification. All right, this next one, this is like a hustle of the year I'm sharing here, but I felt this needed to be shared. So this comes from Salad Sauce from our Discord, who always has incredible flips here. It says, we purchased video game collections, and these came from one. A guy in Oklahoma contacted me and he wanted to sell his entire collection. The collection was valued at $41,000, and we paid $14,500. We ended up bringing a lot bigger truck than needed, and since we drove a few hours away, we asked what else he had. He ended up filling up the 15-foot box truck with 70+ systems, 1,500+ games, accessories, sealed vintage toys, TMNT figures, He-Man figures, Star Wars toys, and much more. Paid an extra $1,800 for the toys. So all in all, we paid $16,300 for a 15-foot box truck full of collectibles. We have already listed our money back. We already made our money back on eBay and have barely scratched the surface. So this is what they sold for the hustle of the week that we're going to share today. They sold a Flintstones surprise at Dinosaur Peak Nintendo NES cartridge, only the cartridge, for $1,129.99. I didn't even know that game existed. That's awesome. And then they sold another one, a Little Samson. I knew about Little Samson, NES cartridge only for $2,700.
Wow. Wow.
Like,
you got to be willing to, like, I mean, that's a big fine, but you got to be willing to drop the money, you know, when opportunities like that come. This is what I'll never forget when we did Richest Man in Babylon, and it's like there's no such thing as luck. There's just opportunity and people who are primed to strike when that opportunity is there. And you know, it's not going to be every day that you're going to have a $16,000 offer come your way, but it's going to happen in your reselling life from here every so often. And if you're like, I don't have it, I'm not in a position to do that, or I'm not sure, then you miss out on a sale like this.
No, seriously. I mean, especially you go full time, you got to be ready. You got to be ready to strike. That's one of the reasons I was able to do full time for 8 years, was that like when there were opportunities, I moved on them, and those opportunities would carry me for a long time. But you always got to be striking. So nice work there, Salad Sauce. All right, we got one more here, Mike.
Yep. So our last one here comes from Focus Then Flip from the Discord. Says, I love the podcast. I've been listening for about a year. After listening to a few episodes of a more juvenile reselling podcast,
we don't need this anybody.
They mentioned a more serious reselling podcast where the two bald guys were always trying to sell their listeners skull shavers. That's pretty funny. Anyways, that's how I found Pure Hustle podcast. Man, that I do miss the skull shaver days. I'll never forget. We even did like a short story where you shaved your head as part of the story. Like, I want to show you how fast this is. Man, can you?
Yeah.
Believe we did that. But how funny, and I appreciate whoever it was who sent us over this listener over our way. So, anyways, here's the hustle. I bought an old musty bag of camera stuff at a garage sale for $20. There were a couple of point and shoot digital cameras I knew I would do okay on. In the bottom of the bag were these two old lenses I knew nothing about. So after doing some research, I decided to list them for $350 because I couldn't find sold comps. I accepted an offer for $200 plus shipping for two vintage, I think it's Ilix Optical Company, Cinemat 100 millimeter f2.9 lens. Yeah, that's a good lens. I don't know. I'm not super familiar with that brand, but you see the f2.9. The lower the number there, usually the better, right? Like if you can get 1.8, 1.4, 1.2, but even anything under like a 4, a 5, like especially when you're getting into the 2s and below, that focal length, especially with a longer millimeter, so 100 millimeters with that low f number, whenever you see stuff like that, you know you have money on the lens, as long as it's in good quality, because those are the types of lenses. If you're not a photographer, none of that stuff means anything to you. But if you want to have those beautiful pictures that you always see professional photographers take, and you can do it on your cell phones now digitally, but where you have that really blurry background where your subject is in focus and the background's kind of all blurred, and that comes from being able to have your aperture really, really wide open to let in a lot of light and focus very narrowly on your focus point. So that low number is what allows that to happen. So if you got a 100 millimeter lens with an f2.9, that's going to be able to take some really, really good solid portraits. I mean, usually it's like 85 millimeter maybe for portraits, but what a find from $20 to hundreds here. Fantastic.
No, you can't beat that. So all right, I know things have been busy for you, so I'll just talk about my hustle of the week real quick here. I'm just happy about this one, just because like I was able to help somebody out, help me out, made a little bit of money. So I was at one of my friends' house, and their son's in college, and their son bought like a Travis Scott hoodie, Travis Scott Air Jordan hoodie, and you know, I think he paid like $200 or whatever on StockX, and it still had the StockX tag on it, and he knew I was a reseller. He's like, hey, like, would you be willing to buy this off me? I need some college money. And I felt really bad for him. And I'm like, man, you don't want to sell to me. Like, I'm gonna give you like a bottom
Rock
dollar
bottom.
for it, rock bottom, right? And but I said, you know what do you want for it? And he's like, would you do like 120? I'm like, I can't do 120. That's almost like what I could sell it for. He's like, you know what? How about 80? I'll pay $80 for it, knowing that I'm not gonna make a ton of money on it. So he's like, deal, man. I need the dough. So I bought it for $80. I knew it'd be a quick sale. And it sold for $150 like within a week, right? So I still made, after eBay fees and everything. Like, here, let me see. I can look it up right now. After, yeah, I didn't make very much. So, oh my goodness, this is crazy how much. Let's take a look at the fees here. So it sold for $150, right? Okay. And then let's see, it sold for $150. And then I had other eBay. I had promoted listings that took another $22.75. Yeah. So in the end, I made like 101. It says in the end I made like 101 on it, whatever. I think there were some other fees attached to it. So I made $21. But you know what? I'm happy about it because I got to help him out. I mean, how long did it take me to list, to ship? Probably took like 10 minutes, right? So, I mean, yeah, did I work for, I don't know, minimum wage for that moment? I did. Probably, I don't know, maybe less than, maybe California fast food minimum wage. But in the end, like, I was able to help him out. I made my money back. I made a little bit of profit on it. I see that a hustle a week. Sometimes it's about helping other people out, and I'm happy about it. So there we are. And I had other sales. I had like a Hot Wheels red line that sold for $250 that I paid like 25 cents for. Keep an eye out for red lines. I sold another Hot Wheels that I sold for $150. And this is all stuff from that Hot Wheel haul I had like 3 years ago. I still got Hot Wheels I sell Hot Wheels all the time still. It's just kind of crazy. So yeah, that's my hustle. I sell taxidermy still from a haul I had a while back. Again, those were opportunities where I made sure that I saw that, hey, I can make a lot of money, and I pulled out the cash that I had and I made that purchase, right? And it still carries me to this day, right? So just like salad sauce had that huge purchase, don't be scared to make those big purchases, because you never know. I think what salad sauce also encounters is, this is what I encounter with those hauls, is like, you think you made money, but then as you start like digging through stuff, you're like, wait a second, this is in here, or this is in here. Like, that is the beauty of buying those huge buyouts, because you never know what you're gonna pick up. So check them out. Absolutely. All right, Mike, as we wrap things up here, what are you looking forward to?
Got to get to a garage sale, man. A couple of times going to thrift stores, especially big box thrift stores, have just been just disheartening. I'm discouraged. And so it's got to be garage sales. The second to garage sales is estate sales. I still do fine on local deals and Facebook Marketplace. It's not the same though, like scrolling on your phone and finding a deal here and there versus you just see boxes of stuff and you're like, where's the treasure? It's just not the same. So hopefully the weather will get a little bit better. It is supposed to be cold for the next few weekends, so it might be a few weeks before I'm there. It might have to be estate sales, but that's what I'm looking forward to. What about you?
Well, that was the discussion I was going to have with you was, is it better to chase these hot items like the Costco Nikes and the KFC Bolo, or is it better to go to garage sales? Right? Because
by the time it's all said and done, you wait in line, you pick up one of those pairs of shoes. By the time you made your profit off of the cost of goods, the shipping, the promoting, all of that, you end up making a couple $100 off of it. Well, unless you were already at Costco and it was not a big deal for you to pick one up, you can easily make $200 at one garage sale stop.
Yeah, so. And if you have a really good garage sale morning, you could make thousands.
Yep.
Right. And if you've been listening to the podcast, like, we've had that happen so many times, so many times. So yeah, I'm with you, man. Like, I want to go out to garage sales again. I also had a lot of stuff for school. Like, I have presentations. I got a lot that I need to take care of. And so my priority is what I've been called to do first. But, I'm looking forward the next weekend to going to garage sales and making it happen. And yeah, it's just, that's the thing, right? Reselling is something you can turn on and turn off when you need to. And it's just one of those great things that are available to us even now. So, hey, appreciate everybody tuning in. Keep an eye out for those Pure Hustle bars. and look forward to all of you. And with that being said, make sure to be real,
Be relevant,
and be reselling. Peace.
From garage sales to thrift store aisles, we hunt for treasure, stacking them in piles. Hustling hard, making deals all day, flipping finds, turning profit our way. You hustle